Hello and welcome to France 24's music show. I'm Marjorie Hash, and our guest this week grew up between Paris and Tehran and is also half Egyptian. Her brass-tinted music blends traditional and electronic sounds as well as her impressive vocal range. She's been compared to the likes of Björk, Kalela, and has performed, amongst others, with a Japanese composer Midori Takada and DJ Jeff Mills. Lafawndah, thank you so much for coming on the France 24 show today. I have to admit, you're my first guest since lockdown has happened, and so it's an utter pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Where have you spent, most of this COVID pandemic?
In London.
In London?
Yeah.
So your new home at the minute?
Yes.
Yes, that's very cool. And it's really cool to have you on the show today because you're releasing your second full-length album, which is inspired by a mythological trilogy by African-American sci-fi author N.K. Jemisin, which is set during an apocalyptic time, and it's actually magic that's going to help save the world. Now, I don't want to draw comparisons with the current state of the world, but, what was your inspiration, and when did you decide to start using this work?
I basically was reading the book at the same time that I was working on the album. And I feel like the book invited itself more than like I decided to be inspired by the book. Yeah. And then it happened so that it was like a premonitory album of some kind, because the fifth season is basically it. I mean, you can draw any comparison you want because it's happening basically. Mm-hmm. And I decided of the title in December, so.
Oh yeah, so preempting.
Preempting, absolutely.
The artwork for it is pretty incredible as well. Can you talk us through it? Yeah,
it's one of my favorite artists, Marguerite Humeau. She's a French artist who lives in London. And she's interested in life before humans and communications that is outside of language. And she created this piece that's a Venus from, I think, 30,000 years ago.
Wow.
So it's her interpretation of this Venus. And she's like thinking about the times, kind of like early human times.
Mm-hmm. That's very cool. Well, how about we check out one of the tracks, or a little teaser for your new track, which is called Le Malentendu Tendu, which means the misunderstood or misunderstanding. Yes. And it features French rapper Lala Ace. Yes. And also you had the cinematographer who worked on the French film A Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Dans ton cœur, c'est un malentendu. C'est un faux pas. Finir ainsi, non, je ne pensais pas.
Now, Lafawndah, how cool was it making this 9-minute sort of feature film?
It was kind of a dream come true. I basically invited the directors to come and do like a free format because I didn't want to do a music video. Mm-hmm. I wanted the images to be in excess of the music. And so it's basically a short film. Mm-hmm. And it was really crazy to be creating such a piece in such a crazy time. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's like the first time I'm invited actors also to have like the main characters. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's a tale. It's like a modern tale.
Yeah. Well, it's very, very cool. We've mentioned also the fact that your music is it reminds us of a soundtrack, and that goes very well with, your the small feature film. When you're writing songs and composing, what comes first? Is it images, or is it music, or is it the words? Is there a process in particular? I know some people, they have a word and they get obsessed with it.
No, there's no process. I think having one process would just mean that you're repeating yourself. That would be boring for you and for me. It depends, but definitely the image is not always at the service of the music. Sometimes it comes before, and I think about the music as a score. That happens a lot, for sure.
No, it's really, really exciting, and that's made available this week. I also noticed about your new record that the production felt more fluid compared to your first one, which only came out, just about a year and a half ago, where it's really tight and
yes,
and there it's all like, floaty. Yes. Was that something conscious or?
Yes, absolutely. I spent 4 years of my life having total control over a piece, and I needed to just let go. And the process is like improvisation and just accepting what happens and then shaping what it is that I have. So I'm glad you can feel the difference. Yeah.
Oh, and also it also comes at a time where nowadays, in the last 4 years, online streaming has become more popular than full feature movies in the cinema. And I want to talk about the title of your album, The Fifth Season. Now you touched on it, mentioning the books that were influential. But why did you choose that name in particular?
Well, as I said, the book invited itself in the record, but I feel like titles are really hard because you just have to, it's an invitation basically to come in. And I feel like the fifth season is the perfect invitation because it's just slightly outside of reality. You have it's like, it's not a crazy title. It's just right outside the reality. And it makes you imagine, what are the smells? What's the temperature? It just opens a lot of questions and imagination, which is good. That's what I want.
It's really nice. There's a lot of, you go to different worlds. Talking of different worlds, you speak a number of languages, French, English, obviously, Farsi as well. What other languages do you speak?
Spanish, broken Spanish. And Swahili in my dreams.
Warembo. So when you, flip from one language to another, do you feel your personality change from one language to another, or your...
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very. It's like the first time I'm writing in French on this record, and it's I'm accessing a totally different set of emotions. And also the way that I use my voice is so different, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's wonderful, wonderful use of your voice and wonderful record. How about we check out some of the new releases that have arrived this week, or arriving this week. One of them in particular is a French rapper. He's called Ishaon, and he's releasing his new record, Pour de Vrai. Now, the 30-year-old, who is originally from Montreuil, just outside Paris, has softened his tone and style over the last several years. His music is soothing and full of hope, and he's singing a lot more as well. Let's check out one of the singles which came out as the Black Lives Matter movement was gaining momentum last June.
T'es venue toute seule, reste pas toute seule. Je vis la nuit, tu vis le jour. Si tu cherches l'amour, viens faire un tour. Si t'as besoin, trouve-moi dans le coin. Choisis, le noir ou bien le blanc. Choisis, le noir ou bien le blanc. Choisis, le noir ou bien le blanc. Choisis, le noir.
French rapper Ishaon there, and I should point out that you'll be able to find out some more hard-hitting tracks despite his softer appearance. Now, you grew up, amongst others, in France. How much did French hip-hop influence, or how much were you into French hip-hop as you grew up?
I was obsessed with the writing. I was kind of on the side of it, but I loved writing poems as like an emo. 11 years old, and I was definitely into the pen of a lot of people. It was like golden age for sure.
Any names in particular that you loved?
I mean, the 90s.
The golden age.
The golden age, yeah, for sure.
Cool. So I am to
exactly.
And yeah, that's great. Well, how about we move on over to America with a band whose concerts are known for being super trippy and sparkly, not far off a hardcore 5-year-old birthday party, if you ask me. And one could even argue that they're ahead of their time as they performed in see-through giant balls that rolled out over the audience. That's the Flaming Lips. Now, their 16th studio album is called American Head, and it features 13 tracks with cinematic qualities, and some of them even feature a guest appearance from country superstar Casey Musgrave. Singer Wayne Coyne highlighted the fact that until recently, the band, who is originally from Oklahoma, had never really connected with its native US. Here's a very beautiful song with incredibly sad lyrics.
Remember all the others that are still alive. Their love will help you, and so would I. Remember to let the dogs outside, 'cause I won't be there tonight.
show that was recorded in a very pandemic-conscious way. Well, that's it for this week's France 24 music show. Thank you very much to my guest, Lafawndah, for coming in on the show. Your new record, the fifth season, is out this week. Go get it. Totally recommend it. In the meantime, remember, you can find all our culture news on our website. Do feel free to follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. The latest news is coming up in just a few minutes on France 24. That leaves us enough time to close our show with Mr. Marilyn Manson, whose new album is called We Are Chaos. Manson has said, "I'm in a mode in life where I wanted to tell stories with this record so you can see and hear all of your longing, your passion and despair." Thanks, Marilyn Manson. Let's check him out.